Hey guys, what's up? Siri Emerald here. Welcome to the episode before Christmas, December 21st, 2019. Christmas is on Wednesday. Is that right? Um, my computer has been updating all morning. Just now it's finally at the sign-on screen. So we'll be going live, blind. Not uncommon for this channel. Oh, come on. The high security password I have to put in is 72 characters long. I haven't let me type it in yet. So, what do I have? I know what I have. I've got notification that what's coming that I haven't got, that I've not received yet, but I will be up unboxing for the next couple of weeks. Hot Toys R2d2 with all the attachments, everything that we've ever seen R2d2 do. I think the only thing that's not on this R2d2 are the little jets or whatever that come out of his little arms that let him fly. I think it comes with everything else. That's provided by Hot Toys. I mean, not paid for by Hot Toys. I paid for it. Hot Toys made for. Mark 7 die cast. So I got notification that's coming. Eric Killmonger. Notification that that's coming. And there was something else that is coming. The Hulkbuster Veronica satellite piece. So when Tony orders his Hulkbuster down, he tells Veronica to send the Hulkbuster, and the satellite dispatches this piece of equipment that leaves the satellites carrying the Hulkbuster. It literally empties itself of an entire Hulkbuster, then hovers several thousand feet in the air and sends the arm when he says, "Veronica, give me an arm," and the jackhammer arm is sent to him. So Hot Toys showed when Hot Toys first made the first Hulkbuster announcement of it back in 2015. They made no reference to it whatsoever when they first announced it. Several months later, they started showing this little bitty Veronica that they were planning on releasing with that, and the jackhammer hand. And the Veronica was about, it's hard to say from the images, but I would guess it looked like it was between 5 and 6 inches tall. Now, obviously, Veronica would have to be much bigger than that for it to be 1/6 scale. It closed an entire Hulkbuster suit in it. And the Hulkbuster is, what, 24 inches tall? So Veronica would have to be at least 48 inches. At least 48 inches. So when they then released the re-release of the Hulkbuster with the jackhammer arm and or the accessory jackhammer arm, they still teased that they were going to be getting a Veronica at that point. Never did. So this other company, I think it's Pop Toys, finally decided to make a Veronica, but it's only like 6 inches tall. So what would that be? If let's just say, for instance, that if 2 feet is a Hulkbuster at 1/6, and Veronica has to be at least twice that size, I'm almost positive that she would probably contain enough to build two Hulkbusters, truthfully. So that would make her 48 inches tall. So if this thing is 6 inches, that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1/8 of 1/6, so 1/72nd. 1/72nd scale is what this evidently would be. Just kind of guessing. We don't really know for fact, truthfully. Hopefully that was the correct password. You know how it is. You have a password for every single separate account that you log into. This world's gone crazy. So what this is Well, you'll see what it is. And actually, if you're not watching it live, you already know what it is, because I'm going to put the description in the title. So I'm not going to bother boring you and telling you what it is, because you'll know what it is in a matter of seconds. What was the other thing that's coming? So I bought this from 1/6 Outfitters. I've sold my Mark III gunmetal, I think is what it's called. And so I've got that boxed up, ready to go out. That was a hard one to get rid of. I've got to say, that was a really hard one to get rid of. I don't mean in regards to finding somebody to buy it. I mean in regards to what a fine piece that one is. I mean for real. I think I showed it to you guys week before last. Solid as a rock. I think it was a 2011 or 2012 figure. One of the early Movie Masterpiece series. One of the early Movie Masterpiece series figures. I'm opening this up without even showing you what it is. Peggy Carter, in her SSR outfit, right? Isn't that what they called that? So this is going to look really good with an old cap. I'm going to put her next to my concept art Captain America. I don't have an old cap. I think my oldest cap is a Age of Ultron cap. And it's by JX Toys, and I don't remember if I have anything else from JX Toys or not. And this kind of really reminds me, as I first opened this up, of how Hot Toys used to do things with the little styrofoam insert here. It almost felt like you were getting something special in that regards. Now the Hot Toys has made their figures in the cases that they're in now. It definitely feels mass produced. This doesn't quite feel mass produced. I think there was two ways that you could have bought this. I think you could have bought this without the body. I'm almost positive that that was the case, and I bought it with the body. I don't remember. I think she was under $200. And she tells the story. I know she's not going to be popular. The majority of y'all are going to be like, who even gives a shit? Oh, by the way, this is rated T for teen and above. No children allowed. Sorry to say. That's what YouTube requires. I know. It's stupid. This world's done gone stupid, man. We've literally, we try to pride ourselves in our education and our forward thinking and our all inclusiveness, and then we go ahead and do something totally freaking stupid. And it's like, how that totally just proves that everything that you claim that you are is not what you claim that you are. Because you're not. I don't even know anymore. I really don't. I give up. I'll have some comments here in a minute. Take me just a moment to get everything. Again, like I said, I'm sorry. This thing was. I started. I set my alarm clock for 1 hour before the show starts, so I have an entire hour to prepare. The first thing I do after I wake up, after I get up, make my make my bed, use the restroom, come in here and turn the computer on. The computer's on like literally with less than 5 minutes from the time I wake up an hour ago. And this thing was going through its Windows updates for that entire time. Give me a frickin' break. Really? It's that long to update? No. So, I hate this computer. when I was saying the prototype images of this, I thought it was really well. I was pleased. And again, I don't remember if I have any other JX toys. I don't think I do. But I figure that the outfit is going to look well enough as it stands. I don't know the actress well enough to be able to look at this image and say, yeah, that is or it is not Peggy Carter, but let's find out what you guys think. I think it's pretty well. Yay, nay on the light. Nay on the light. We think the pass. Molded hair. A lot of you have complained about rooted hair, and you would say you would much prefer molded hair. I'm saying, looking at her, the eye spacing is just a little bit too tight in between to how far apart your eyes are supposed to be. I think the eye spacing is a little too tight. But just looking at it, I mean, if you were to scan yourself, you'd be like, Peggy Carter, for a fact. So she does, in my opinion, what she's supposed to do, which is tell the story. They use the body that has some pretty thick ankles there. To give you articulation. And a joint at the knee, which is fine. It's really a opaque stocking that she's wearing. And the skirt falls below the knee. I've got a little fabric bubble right there in the calf. See if we can get that to show up. It's not even, it's so fine and a thing that it's not even going to show up on the video. See if I can get any shadow to cast on it whatsoever. It's not. There's a little fabric bubble right there. But again, that's the back. She's not going to be displaying her back. She's going to be displaying her front. Little belt. Seems a little long here. I don't think it should be that long. But there's a loop. Belt loop. I'll tuck it in here. Maybe. We'll let it go in there. Still waiting on YouTube to load over there. Oh, there's YouTube. Hello, YouTube. I'm going to use some tweezers to get this. Waiting on my chats. So I am truthfully, in my opinion, doing adequate preparation for this show. I shouldn't, for real, I shouldn't have to be up here more than an hour getting ready for this. You know what I mean? Technology sucks sometimes. Appreciate all you guys coming and seeing me. Stopping by the channel, saying hello, sharing, caring, sharing and caring. It's a sharing and caring show. This little belt loop is just, it's been why they didn't thread it in. It's literally like just right there. Oh, her head fell off. I did not expect that, especially because I had her upside down a few moments ago. She's lost her head. Of course, it's a saying I've not heard in quite a while. It means that you are upset or crazy. I think now we're just say crazy or pissed off. Lost your head. I can't remember the last time I've even heard that term. Kind of stalling also. Waiting on YouTube to kick up. Yay! I think we're here. Noble, how are you? Is Star Wars out right now? No, I had not. Oh man, I've not gone and seen it yet. This is what the Rise of Skywalker is supposed to be like the end, more or less. So we can't talk about it. If you've seen it, you're not allowed to talk about it. What do we say normally? 2 weeks? Isn't that what we normally give as a hiatus before we can talk about new movies that have come out? We can talk about whether or not someone has seen it. Please make zero references to anything that happened in the movie if you have seen it. I mean, literally nothing. Don't talk about none of it. I have not seen it. I don't remember if I've seen the last one. I know I skipped Solo, and everyone says that. I don't know. I wouldn't say everyone. Some people say it was well, but I know I was just really torqued about this whole thing that they were doing. I guess I would need to see what's going on out there when I want to go see it. But no, please, let's not ruin it for anybody that has or that has not seen it yet. Okay? So I'm putting a moratorium on discussing the new Star Wars movie other than to say yay or nay whether you've seen it. Nothing else. We're not going to talk about that today. We're not. Because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I believe in the magic of movies. I think it's great to be immersed in something so much that you don't even realize that you've been brought to this other world where something is happening that you would never noticed before. Ian, season's greetings. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Whatever you celebrate, Festivus for the rest of us. Enjoy your time of caring and sharing and giving and loving. And it is that time. The UK. My Veronica is on its way. Mine too. I'll be opening that up next week, I hope. We'll be able to discuss that then. CBS Sci-Fi. Hello. I think you're also in the UK, aren't you? How's it going? I'm doing well. I'm sorry I missed you guys last week. Same on my own. I'm sorry I missed you guys last week. We didn't have anything to talk about. We talked about everything the week before that. And I think there's been a couple of announcements of new figures, whatnot. But I took the time off. I'm sorry. I hope you guys can forgive me. So that's where I was last week. No on the light. Gotcha. All right, so I believe we're caught up on everything. It's a small group of people so far today, huh? Glad to have you guys. Glad to have you guys. Love every one of you, as you know. So, by the way, let's get her head back on here. Here's your neck attachment. That's Sculpt. I mean, I look at that and I know that's Peggy Carter. And please, again, forgive me. I don't remember the actress's name. No offense to her. Um, so it resembles Peggy Carter enough that I don't have to tell anybody who it is who's seen the movies. Now, if you've not seen the movies, even if I were to tell you who it was, it wouldn't mean nothing to you. If you're not familiar with the stories, if I told you that's Peggy Carter, that tells you nothing. Iron Man, you'll figure out who's that Iron Man. Oh, okay, I've heard of him. Whether you've seen the movies or not, you Spider Man saying, "Who's that Spider Man?" No, okay, I know who that is. Yeah, you're not gonna have any idea who Peggy Carter is. But for my purpose, our purpose, Peggy Carter works. You see, I got the loop around that belt. I moved her gig line over. I don't remember in the military they call it a gig line. Everything's supposed to be in a straight line there. Don't remember exactly where the belt's supposed to be, but I think it's supposed to be to the section over here a little more. So I just give it a little spun. I think it's supposed to be just a little bit more over there, like such. Little gold buttons. I don't know if you can see those. They're carved. I can't necessarily see what's on there, but you've got the SSR symbol on her lapels. Little gold button at the top of her. I don't know what those call those. I wonder if this will work for you guys. Hey, I'm trying. What can I say? It's good color. It looks like an army color, greenish brown. Her shoes are more caramel than the uniform. But when I was served in the military, in the Navy, the Airedales or the people involved in Navy aviation are allowed to wear brown shoes. They call it brown shoe Navy versus black shoe Navy. The black shoe Navy are the boats, brown shoe Navy are the Airedales. And it goes back to the old days of the airstrips being dirt. And so the shoes would match the dirt. And the brown shoe Navy shoes are about that color. So that works for me as well. I like that. Our little gig line is off. Let's mess with that some. See if there's anything else underneath this. I don't see a figure stand whatsoever. Figure stands are getting pretty rare for me now. So I'm going to have to probably drop some money on just buying some little figure stands to hold up characters as such. Totally articulated right up, no effort whatsoever, but it's not loose as such. So I have no problem moving that. There's a split in the back of her dress. As you would imagine, a dress as such would have that. So you can put her into a walking pose. The dress will split up should you desire to have Peggy walking as such. The uniform doesn't appear to be too binding. Anytime you have any type of clothing that's going to be an excess, there's going to be bunching and restriction. But for the normal movement of a body, it works well. So you can get her into any type of a march, should you so desire. The material feels quality. It doesn't feel junk and it's not all wrinkled up. So it was well thought of when put in there. And she is wearing stockings, thigh highs. That's how high up they go. And she is not wearing panties, nor are they painted on. So Peggy Carter's a little naughty. There's an inner lining on the skirt. Really nice quality in regards to that. And the sewing looks well. Nice micro sewing. Some of it may, instead of necessarily be sewn, it may just be glued. But the stitching looks really well. So I don't know who made this, but you can see the stitching on the skirt there when the panels are sewed together. And I think they did a really nice job on that. Pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased. So, of course, we can pull her stockings tight. Lift them up to get them tight. As you see, I imagine, there we go. You see how where I bent her knee, the stockings bunched. Okay? So we can just pull her stockings back up to get rid of that. But then again, the skirt comes below the knee. So the stockings are going to be hidden well from that. So as far as posability goes, setting a display, I don't see any problem with this being a good portion of telling the story of your Marvel Cinematic Universe character line. The skirt goes up really high, it's up around her midriff of her waist, dead center in the middle of her waist. That's the top of the skirt. She's wearing a white shirt underneath. You have it tucked in. The pleats and the hems. Again, really good job with this. Really good job with this. I mean, I'm being probably a lot more rough than a collector would be in regards to putting his figure for display. You're not necessarily going to be jerking her around and banging her up. And I'm not doing it to try to destroy her. I'm just giving you an idea of what you got going should you decide you wanted to purchase this. Little buttons are sewn on. It's nice. It's nice. A lot of extra little touches here that I really enjoy. If you remember in game, Steve sees Peggy again. So she goes back with your in-game story, right? It's part of the end game. This is the end game. That up there, that's the end game. Obviously, I'm going to say right now the shoes will come off. There's her little foot. There's a little stocking on her foot. And see, she wants to stand. She wants to stand. So with some patience and some finagling, you can probably get her to stand without a pose stand. But especially with this ankles, you're going to want a pose stand. She wants to stand. She so badly wants to stand up. So, like I said, with some patience, you'll get her to stand. But I wouldn't leave her that way without a posing stand. I'm not going to mess with her anymore. in that regards. But she'll stand up. Let's lean her against my coffee cup. There you go, Peggy. She comes with 6 hands. 8 hands, counting the ones that are on her. Red fingernail polish on all of them. So those are relaxed hands, kinda. 2 straight up fists. No holes in them or any way to put anything in it. It's literally straight up fist. Thumbnail is painted on the fist. 2 a little more purposeful, relaxed hands. So these I would call like trigger hands or whatever. So they're just like the hands that are on her right now, except the finger is a little more out. So the hand that's on her right now, the hand's kind of like this, which really is how your hand rests. Your hand just kind of rests like this. That's how your hand rests. This one, the finger is just out a little bit more. Not really a straight pointing at you, but not really a relaxed like your hand sits. It's more like that. So that's where these are. 2 of those. And all the little fingernails have little red fingernail polish on them. And the last 2 are the 4 sets of hands. Are for fat gripping hands. Sword, pistol, whatever you want to put in here. I like in the Captain America movie where he's looking at all the shields and she's a little miffed at him. She takes her gun, shoots at the silver shield that he ends up using that design at that point. So here is her little pistol. If I remember correctly, back then they were using Colt 45s. And this, I mean, again, I'm not a handgun expert under any circumstance whatsoever. But looking at this, it looks like a 1911. No action on this whatsoever. Simply a solid molded pistol. The slide doesn't slide. The magazine doesn't pop out of the grip. There's no bullet in the chamber. There's no way of looking down into where the bullet would be loaded. It's just an extremely, extremely, extremely simple pistol. It's black, shiny. The hand grip has brown and is textured like a cross, diamond cross mesh style. And then 2 little silver daps on there. I think normally like one of those would say like the manufacturer or something to that effect. It's not like that's what's required to hold the grip on. Nothing on that side. So this would, I would imagine, there you can put it in that hand without her finger on her trigger, or put it in this hand to relax with the trigger finger. There you go. There you have it. Everything that comes with her. We're done. That's it. Totally have shown everything with this that came with her. And I thought she was a great value. And she's part of the story. Right? That's why Steve comes back as the old man. Because of her. It's his love. That last dance. Promise me a dance when you come back from your mission, right? There you go. Peggy Carter. So wasn't there, or isn't there an Agent Carter on Netflix or something, which is like her granddaughter or something? Help me out. I don't know. I'm ignorant to that. She will go well. You don't need to buy a pose stand. There she is, standing on her own. 100%. But no, I wouldn't leave her like such. Definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, like I said, I got the Mark III boxed up, so now the shelf that the Mark III was on now holds the Mark III Stealth. Mark IV, Mark IV Neon Tech, the Loki from Germany, Mark VI Neon Tech, and the Mark VI Diecast. And I've got my Spidey over there waiting for his undies. I have to figure out a way to make some undies for him. I have a Spider-Man undie spider. And I have a Mary Jane over there, which is a Red Sonja. And all the prototype images showed us that Red Sonja was supposed to be having like this flowing hair. And she came with these 4 braids. And I've not taken the braids out, but I mean, that's what's going on over there. And there's Captain America. I'll probably put Peggy right there. Next to Red Skull. And Electro. Jamie Foxx Electro. Tony Stark. Mark 45, Mark 46 concept. Poison down here with Daredevil. Jean-Luc on the Star Wars shelf. You know that's where he belongs. So that's the moving around that I've done there for that. I've taken my Mark 21, no, Mark 20 and Mark 22 head sculpts that I made. Put them for sale on eBay. No one is biting. It's because they think it's way overpriced. But you pay $80 or so for a Mark 33 head sculpt. You pay $80 for a head sculpt for the helmet. It's $160. Tax, yada yada, shipping, blah blah blah, on and so on and so forth, and all the work involved of making this into actual working opening and displaying head sculpt, helmeted head sculpt. And so this is the Mark 22 hot rod, the Tony in it, and I have a video out there where I've showed, I mean, literally give you a display of this. So I've got Mark 22 up for sale, the Mark 20 Python. The Mark 20 Python, I actually have an extra neck, so I'm including that with it. So if you guys ever wanted one of these, there you go. And then it closes right up. Displayed either way. Of course, when it's closed up, there's no light. The only one they ever made a light on when it closed, Mark 40 shotgun. Really neat little feature as such. Mark 22 closed up. Who's doing Veronica and where do you get it from? Pop Toys, and I ordered mine from 1-6 Outfitters. So the places I check obviously are Sideshow Toys and Big Bad Toy Store, which is where I buy virtually everything I own. I buy from Big Bad Toy Stores. Big Bad Toy Stores does not carry some third-party stuff due to licensing issues. They'd rather stay on this side of the law instead of jumping over onto that side of the law. So if there's any blurring area in regards to who has permissions and rights to manufacture, sell, or distribute a licensed product, they stay away from it. 1/6 Kit and 1/6 Outfitters are companies that will sell the items from people who aren't necessarily licensed. And as far as you and I go as a collector, I don't know where I stand on that. I mean, I respect the artists and their to be compensated properly for their licensed products. Um, but what's kit bashing also? Truthfully, same thing. I don't know. So 1/6 Outfitters is where I bought this from. 1/6 SIXTH Outfitters.com, and you'll find it there. It should be there. Check 1/6 Kit also. But Big Bad Toy Store is where I buy all my toys, figures, collectibles. I go there first. BBTS.com. That's where I'm going first. If I'm going to buy anything, I'm checking BBTS. If BBTS doesn't have it, then I start having to go out. Sometimes BBTS doesn't have it because Sideshow has it as an exclusive item only. So then you have to buy it from Sideshow. But if Sideshow's not carrying it, BBTS is not carrying it because it's a third-party product that isn't necessarily licensed by the holder of the material, then you have to go out to the smaller companies. And that's how it works. That's how it works. Somebody had watched my old Mark 7 video that was made a few years back, and they asked, which one is the one with the open mask? It's the Mark 7, by the way. That's a Mark 7 you're looking at. Showing you all the versions of that Mark 7. The Mark 21, the Mark 21 Midas is actually a Mark 7. And then the chocolate or white chocolate or subarctic and stealth, those are Mark 7s. So they're all the same body and style. So that's what that whole video is showing, all those. I think I've also have the disco in that video. I don't remember. And I think the Python's in that video. So essentially anything that had a Mark 7 type base to it, which goes back to my belief and opinion in regards to why the Hall of Armor has stopped coming to us, the original Iron Legion. Because that's what we called that when the suits 8 through 41 were coming to us. It was the Iron Legions, what Tony referred to him as. In Age of Ultron, he actually created an Iron Legion, and he had 5 of these suits. Hot Toys showed us the number 1, which was gray. They released the number 3, which is red, and this is called Iron Legion. So you'll hear the term used back and forth. The House Party Protocol, or the Iron Legion, which is Mark 8 through Mark 41, and then these are the Iron Legion, which they only made 1 for us. This number 3. They never made the other 4. You have a through the extra pieces on the other figures that you buy. You would get a 4 bust, okay? And that's kind of an eggplant color, is what that's supposed to be. The color for 4 is eggplant. And then you have, the destroyed Ultron Mark 1 bust. And of course, the Ultron Mark 1. So this is your Iron Legion. So I said all of that to say this, which goes back to the Mark 7 again. In my opinion, the reason that we've not seen any more releases of the Iron Legion and I'm not talking about these five guys, but the 8 through 41, is because the majority of the suits are Mark 7 based. There's about 5 or 6 that are not Mark 7 based, but the majority of all the others are Mark 7 based. And Hot Toys told us they were going to give us the first 7 diecast for fact. That was the promise. And I think now that the Mark 7 is out, we're probably going to start seeing some more cranking up of 8 through 40, 39, 38, 37, 37, no, 36. 8 through 36, right? Because 41 is not Mark 7 base. 42 obviously is not Mark 7 base. Mark 41 is Bones, prehensile prototype. Mark 40 is a shotgun, not Mark 7 based. That's a unique piece, just like the Mark 23 Shades. Mark 39 Star Boost, not Mark 7 based. Mark 38 Igor, 16 inches tall, not Mark 7 based. Mark 37, that's the Hammerhead, right? The undersea one. Again, not Mark 7, 37, not Mark 7 base. Mark 36 is the Peacekeeper, not Mark 7 base. Mark 35 is the Red Snapper, again, not Mark 7. Those two figures have similar pieces on them. Actually, the bicep in the Mark 36 is Mark 7. And then we have the Mark 34 Southpaw, right? I think 34, no, 34 is Fiddler. That one has Mark 7 in it. So, after counting them all, 8 through 34, subtract from that the nightclub and the, gosh, what's the other one? The Mark 15, so 15 and 16. So 8 through 34 minus 15 and 16, so 34 minus 8 is 26, minus 15 and 16, so 24 figures. 24 figures are Mark 7 related. If they decide to redo them because of sizes, looking at 24 figures. And again, that's not counting the pieces that are not Mark 7. So whether or not they would re-release the 41 Bones, the 40 Shotgun, the 23 Shades, which is another one. So actually less than that, 23. 23 pieces is what they would make. If they didn't re-release the others. If they didn't re-release the Shotgun, if they didn't re-release the Shades, if they didn't re-release Igor, if they didn't re-release 36 and 35, 26 and 20, 25 and 20, 25 and 24, no, 25 and 26, Striker and Gamma. So again, there's 2 more we can subtract. So now we're down to 21 pieces. So 21 pieces is what would be Mark 7 related. So if Hot Toys truly wanted to, they could re-release these pieces based off of the Mark 7 diecast. For instance, and I mean re-release like the Mark 9, they would re-release, if they wanted to re-release that. So it'd be 21 pieces, truthfully, is what would need to be done in order to have that. And the simplest one would be the Midas. It's literally a Mark 7 just painted gold. Bam, there's a Mark 21 Midas. And then Silver Centurion and Blue Steel are not Mark 7 also. So now we're down to 19. Take those out as well. So if they redo all the other figures that are Mark 7 related, you're looking at 19. If the size difference is. And I won't be able to tell you whether or not there's a size difference until I get my diecast figure and we compare the Mark 7 diecast versus the Mark 7 plastic and see if there is a difference in size. Because there is a difference between the 4, the 6, the 5. I don't have a 3. I don't have a plastic 3. You know, I do. There is a difference because I just boxed up my plastic 3. The Secret Project. Gunmetal. Whatever it's called. Gunmetal. One's called the Secret Project, one's called the Gunmetal. I think the Mark 3 is the Gunmetal. And there is a size difference between the Mark III diecast and the Mark III plastic. And then there's a size difference between the Mark III diecast and the other figures. So a lot of us in the community have stated their opinion that the Mark III diecast needs to be redone to put it into scale with all the others. So that's where all of that goes. Long story short, to get to the point of what it is that's going on that causes what is going on to be what is going on. Let's put my Ultron back down here. They never made the full-on realized Prime Ultron Prime. There's some more add-on pieces that we never got to make him into his final realization. King Arts made those pieces that you could buy for your 1/9 scale Ultron Prime. I think they call it Ultron Prime. And we never got the little henchmen, what was it called? The Sentinels, right? We never got those. I see Iron Studios has released Proxima Midnight statue in 1/10 scale. I really would like to see the Black Order. Really want a Black Order. I really want those 4, Proxima Midnight and help me out, guys. I really want a Black Order. I think we deserve a Black Order. I really want the other 4 pieces of the Iron Legion too. I've seen Terrence's customized work that he had somebody do for him. Oh, they look gorgeous. But the white on that is pearlized. So to be able to duplicate that is beyond my capability, and finances in regards to that. The figure when it was selling new for selling for $200, pay someone to paint it and whatever else, probably cost you $400 or $500 for the figure. For if you were to buy somebody to customize that, I would imagine that's probably what they were selling it for. So if you wanted to get the other 4, it would cost you essentially a couple $1,000, and that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It all adds up. It adds up very quickly. And what's so funny is, we collect these as collectors. We collect them because we want that piece. I want my Iron Legion. Okay. But then when you turn around and you have to sell it, be it for financial gain, to get yourself out of position, or you're just done collecting them or whatever, people are like, I'm not giving you $500 for that Mark II, number 2 Iron Legion. Well, you're not going to find it anywhere else. It's custom piece. I'll give you $200. No, I'll give you $100. And that's how we are. There's a point where you have to recognize the craft and be willing to pay for what it's going to cost to get. Got his little boots laced up. Let's need to tie them. My crossbones, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this little silver snap here, because I swapped out his pants. His pants that came with this AI doll Crossbones figure were black, and Crossbones definitely has the dark camouflage. So I bought a pair of dark camouflage pants and I put them on. They're too small, but there's enough material there that if I could take this little snap off, I should be able to put that together properly. The only other thing that he needs are these little shin guards, which I've got to figure out a way to attach here. I might just use glue and glue it on. Not real certain. And he needs a full-on breastplate to actually make him Crossbones. And this is the helmet that came with that Crossbones AI doll. It's not bad. It's not as good as it could be, but again, it tells the story. When you look at this, if you're familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know who it is. It's Crossbones. Oh, Black Cat is another figure that I was told is on her way. It's a Felicia Hardy Black Cat, I think made by Very Cool Toys. So I've got that coming also. So Eric Killmonger, R2D2, Mark 7 diecast, Black Cat, Felicia Hardy's Black Cat, comic style rendition, and Veronica. So a lot's coming. And that's what happens in the first of the year. We have a dry spell of in this community. It won't be much announced until the cons, the toy fairs, and all that start coming out. So they're dropping everything right now that they've been promising us for the last 2 years, and your wallet is totally hit by this. And then we're going to go 2 months of a dry spell. So January and February there won't be much coming around at all, and then they'll start cranking back up again in March. So that's what's going to happen. So I'm glad to have so much pieces available to talk about. So next week will be Veronica. Week after that will probably be Black Cat. Week after that will probably be either R2D2 or the Mark 7 diecast. Probably do R2D2. And then the week after that will be the Mark 7 diecast. The week after that will be Eric Killmonger. And I don't remember if anything else is coming. So that'll push us into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So December 28th. And then 4 weeks of January. So put us to the last week of January of things to talk about and do. What you guys got going on? There's been some announcements of new pieces. The did a lot of Stormtroopers. A lot of Star Wars was dropped by Hot Toys. Like this white Stormtrooper from The Mandalorian. Looks pretty cool. Looks like the same type of Stormtroopers that I remember from the original series, which they haven't been making for a while. I thought that was cool. And there's a red Sith Stormtrooper. Don't know what the whole story is. I guess now the Jedis are the Stormtroopers. We'll figure it out in the movie. What is that? There's some Peter Parker casual clothes that are available. Hot Toys MMS 621, 1/6 scale Sith Jet Trooper, and Hot Toys MMS 561. It's MMS 562 and MMS 561. 561 is a Jet Trooper. MMS TMS 011 because of the television masterpiece series. 011 is 1/6 scale Remnant Stormtrooper, so it looks like a Stormtrooper from Star Wars A New Hope. That's available. We have what else did I see that was new? Oh, a Trinity from the Matrix, right? There's a Tony Stark clothing outfit, which is his Iron Man 3 outfit, the black with the gray. So you can pick those up for $35. It's called the Iron Man 3 Mechanic Tony clothing set. There's a Trinity called the Cyber Hacker Killer by Long's Hanjinshu. Oh, they're so Young Rich Toys has made a Spider Gwen, and then there was a Spider Gwen that was made through Bullet Head called the Miss Stacy. And I would say between those two, one has a nice looking head sculpt, the other one has a nice looking outfit. One has the one with the nice looking head sculpt has the ballet slippers that are like cloth. The one with the nice looking outfit has the ballet slippers that are like they're articulated, so they're plastic with the broken toe articulation, so you can pose the toe. So it's almost like as if you take both those figures and combine them into one figure, you can get a good looking Spider Gwen from the Marvel Spider-Man multiverse movie, the cartoon animated movie. So, and I am a big fan of Spider Gwen. Really like the realization that they did her for her in the movie. I'm a huge Spider-Man nut. What can I say? So that's what's going on in regards to that portion of the community. Let's see if Hot Toys has announced anything in the last night. Well, this is going to take forever to data load. So short and sweet. Guys, if you got anything else that you want to talk about? Dennis, hi, how are you doing? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. Anything else on your mind? Anything at all? Anything you want to talk about? The series is. Oh, there's another Vampirella come out. Okay, so this will be our fourth Vampirella. Made by Fison / TB League, Executive Replicas, or whomever Coffin, I'm not sure. I think it's just Fison and TB League is involved with this. So the first Vampirella that came out 2 years ago was literally called the Asian version Vampirella. And you can see her over there. Right there. Not going to pick her up because she's standing up on her own over there. That's like the whole Fison shelf. So I've got 3 Lady Deaths. So I made 2 versions of Lady Death, and I have 2 of number 1s and 1 of number 2. And so one of the number 1s is holding also some pieces from the number 2. And I've got her on a throne. So anyhow, Vampirella first came out as the Asian version of Vampirella. And the big question at that time was, is there going to be a non-Asian version of Vampirella? And nobody was telling us nothing. So you bought the Vampirella, the Asian version of it. And then they came out with the Vampirella, non-Asian version, it's called Vampirella. So that's the number 2. So the what you're actually seeing is the number 2 because the Vampirella Asian version is right behind her there. Let's take this right over there. So there's Vampirella. It's made by Fison, seamless bodies, beautiful pieces. Love, love, love them. And there is a very definitive difference between these two, including the suit material and the adornments that come with her. Right next to her is the Near Automata on a Fison body, by the way. It's like my Fison shelf. There's Lady Deaths over there. So about 2 or 3 months ago, they have the Jose Gonzalez, I think was his name, 50th anniversary Vampirella coming out. And I placed an order for that, and I think it was like $200. And now they've announced the 50th anniversary Caroline Monroe Vampirella, $300. Okay, so this has gone from a $200 figure to a $300 figure. Now, the Caroline Monroe is another head sculpt. So essentially, if you were to buy all 4 of those Vampirellas, you would have 3 of them with one style of suit, 1 with a different suit, 6 different head sculpts. The Asian version came with 1 head sculpt. The SHCC Vampirella, which is the number 2, the one on the left, came with her own head sculpt. And she came with this kind of like a bloodlust head sculpt. So you got 3 head sculpts with that. She's got her little tongue out like she's licking the blood from her lips. So with those 2, you would have 3 head sculpts. The Jose Gonzalez, I think is the name of him, the 50th anniversary one, comes with 1 head sculpt. And the new Caroline Monroe comes with 2 head sculpts. So, in a sense, you have 6 different ways of displaying Vampirella on 2 different bodies, essentially. The Asian version body suit is a little different than the others, as such. So that's what's coming down, the 50th anniversary Caroline Monroe. Caroline Monroe, from my understanding, was considered for the part. I don't know why she didn't get it or what happened, or if she, I don't know, died or what. But that's why they're doing a Caroline Monroe Vampirella. $300 scares the hell out of me. It's so interesting to see these figures go the prices that they have. Gone are the days of $100 figures. So Peggy Carter is a great value for that. But when you get a figure that's literally the same as these 2 right here for an extra $100, yeah, So gone are the days of getting figures for dirt cheap. Suck it up. If you're going to be collecting these, you're going to be dropping some change. That's all there is to it. So if you are a Vampirella fan, you want to get another Vampirella, you kept missing all the other Vampirellas, you don't want to buy one of the older Vampirellas, you can get a brand spanking new one coming out like in a few months for $300. I am on the fence as to whether or not to get this personally. I have two very distinct Vampirellas, as you see right there. I don't know that I need a Caroline Monroe for my personal collection. But like I said, if you wanted a Vampirella and you didn't have one, you can get a brand new Vampirella on a Fison/TV League body as such. So that is that. Collection Obsession, how are you? I'm going to see Star Wars Episode number 9 at 2 p.m. today. I heard it's very good, and a lot of people were crying. Aww. I've not even watched a trailer, if I remember correctly. I don't even think I've seen a trailer. No, I take that back. I have seen a trailer. And I've seen, obviously, the D.O/Ray figure that was announced by Hot Toys. And I wasn't too pleased with the facial expression of Ray. And I'm not a Ray fan. I'm really not. I'm not on her bandwagon. I'm not. I love Jyn Erso. Love this whole character development from Rogue One. It would be really nice if they could have done anything other than that. But it was a one-off, totally. Jyn Erso was created in that story. We meet the other Jedis. They would be neat stories. But there can't possibly be another Jyn Erso. She was a great character. That was a good character. Ray, really poorly created character, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. We're all entitled to opinion. That's mine. I'm really not a Ray fan. I hate to say it. I'm just not a Ray fan. I don't care. I don't care for Ray. Monday, I'm going to see it. There we go. So yeah, like I said, we can't talk about it. It's okay what you said. I think that's not a problem at all. So people were crying. I guarantee I'll probably be crying like a baby. And it's nice to know that it's good. We watched a movie the other night, my wife and I, called Just Cause. Had a lot of great actors in it. Sean Connery and can't remember the other actors. So it had a lot of heavy hitters in the movie, and the movie idea was a good movie. The idea of the movie was a good movie, but the acting by some of the actresses was poor, very very poor, and it just made the movie not a magical movie. And it's so unfortunate nowadays. Whenever a movie comes out, if you go in and you see the movie, and you're like, God, that acting just seemed forced. It didn't seem natural. It didn't seem believable. It didn't really. I wasn't immersed into it. And then you come back out here and you get on your cell phone or whatever, and you make an announcement that, the movie sucked. For whatever reason, some of that might be because the acting was terrible. And like I said, in Just Cause, the idea was good, but some of the actors were huge actors, and they really did their job beautifully. And then you have these other actors or actresses in there, and you're like, what the hell is this person even doing this caliber of movie? It totally just blows the whole thing. It's not doesn't seem natural. It doesn't work, and is what happens sometimes. There are several ways a movie can be ruined without you having a political agenda that's going to be the forefront to it. There's ways of ruining a movie just by not acting, directing, or editing it properly, or even camera angles. Those are reasons that'll ruin a movie. So it bothers me when people will go to a movie and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it was a great movie," and you go and you're watching and you're like, "What the hell did this guy think that was great about this?" There's nothing great about this movie. But people are so afraid nowadays to give a real opinion on things because they're afraid they're going to be censored. They're going to be disliked. They're going to get a thumbs down. They're going to be attacked. How dare you attack Star Wars? You're not a real fan if you don't like Star Wars. Dude, if it sucks, it sucks. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying that people are saying it's a good movie. That's nice to hear. Like I said, I heard that Solo was a good movie, and I heard some bad things about Solo. I've not seen Solo, but I can't give an opinion. But I really, really, really enjoyed Rogue One. Really enjoyed Rogue One, and I have to say, if you've not seen Rogue One, you need to see Rogue One, especially if you're any type of Star Wars fan. If for whatever reason you decided to pass on it, you need to see it, and it segues straight into A New Hope. What a powerful scene! The whole ending of the movie is simply powerful, and the characters in A New Hope, Rogue One, were amazing. I love the I don't remember their names, the blind Jedi. Oh my God, what a complete and total badass that dude was! Oh, amazing, amazing, amazing. So hopefully, um, the Rise of Skywalker is a good movie. Hopefully, you can go in there, be immersed in the movie, enjoy the movie, and walk out of there happy. Hopefully, they have fixed the blasphemy that was 7 and 8. That's all I can say about that, because it really was. Hopefully, they got all that fixed. I'm just hoping Disney brings the Skywalker saga to an end with respect for the original trilogy. And that's what I'm hoping to, because that's what it's all about. And of course, you and I know the original trilogy has 4, 5, and 6. That is Star Wars. That's what started Star Wars. Not 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6 is the original trilogy. And I agree. I really hope that they get it together, and I really hope that they've done trying to shove something down my throat. I don't need to be educated about my political or moral beliefs. I don't. Just give me the story. There's enough political and moral story in them as it is. I mean, truthfully, 4, 5, and 6 is a moral dilemma and a political story and a spiritual story. So there's education in that without it being just shoved straight crammed down your throat. Like, for instance, when they remade Episode 4, which it became Episode 4 only after 1, 2, and 3 were made, it was Star Wars. It was not A New Hope, it was Star Wars. When they remade that, and George did all of his little edits, they took away Han Solo killing Guido in regards to Han Solo straight up gangstered Greedo. He literally 100% shot Greedo, and Greedo just kind of muscle trigger shot at Han. Han blew him away in the original story. Han Han really is a pirate. He's kind of a bad guy. He's a smuggler. He's not necessarily on the right side of the law. Being a pirate, being a bad guy, being a smuggler, being somebody who skirts on that side of the law, yeah, he's going to shoot somebody. The guy was a bounty hunter. The guy was trying to collect on a debt that Jabba had. Han killed him. When they remade the movie, they took out that fact of Han shooting first, making it look like as though Han was shooting in self-defense. Bull. Han was not shooting in self-defense. Han was shooting in self-preservation by killing Greedo, but it wasn't self-defense. Han was shooting out of self-preservation, and that is why Greedo was shot, and they should have left him shooting first. That's my opinion. If you've seen Star Wars and Han shot after Greedo did, you don't get the same picture of who Han Solo is. Han Solo shot Greedo, and then Greedo fired. But he had his gun drawn on him, and Greedo's literally sitting there pointing his gun at you. I'm taking you into Jabba the Hutt. You owe him money. That's it. That's all there is to it. You're going down. I'm getting my collection. Han killed him. Period. That's Han Solo. There you go. Solo was not bad, not the best, but an okay movie. I did not see Solo. Only because I was really scared. I did see number 8 now that I think about it. I've seen 7 and 8. 7 was bad. 8, in my opinion, was worse. And I was like, I'm done with Star Wars. So I didn't go see Solo. But yeah, I'll probably go see number 9 in hopes that they do it right. For real. Um, it's been 1 year anniversary since the PG version of Deadpool. I did not see the PG version of Deadpool. I did watch a comparison video of the PG version of Deadpool, and it looks really clever. They literally brought in Fred Savage, and they evidently tell Deadpool in the manner of The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite movies. An amazing movie if you've never seen The Princess Bride. And Deadpool has Fred Savage, who played a little kid in The Princess Bride, only now he's a grown adult, and it's told in that fashion, and that's how they do the PG version of it. So it's the same movie, but not, because they've edited in all of these cutscenes with Deadpool and Fred Savage interacting with each other, and I guess they took out the best they could all the blood and all of the cursing. So if I remember correctly, in a movie made by the Motion Picture Association of America, in order to meet guidelines of PG, PG 13, R, X, whatever, there are certain words that you can't even say. And I believe it is in order for it to maintain a PG 13 rating without going into a rated R rating, you can only say the word fuck one time. Now, maybe 3 times, but I think it's only once are you allowed to say the word fuck and it not be a rated R movie. So, obviously, in the rated R movies, they say it a lot, especially in the Deadpool movies. But in the PG-13 version, of course, that would be one of the things that they would have to take out, would be all the times that Deadpool would say, fuck. It would all be gone. You can't say fuck and keep it a PG or PG-13 movie. It's out. So I don't know if you guys knew that. You probably did. I'm probably telling you things you guys already know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not, and I'm happy to share. Yes, the F word. If you say the F word, that will make it R rated. And the bad thing about that is, and of course, Ryan Reynolds pushed for the R rating on Deadpool, and Fox had Deadpool, and they, of course, made him in R-rated movies, and it made all kinds of money hand over fist. And we love Deadpool. Both of them are really good movies. And then Fox got bought out by Disney, and I don't remember whether or not, I think the Fox merger happened this year. So the PG-13 version was Fox trying to get a broader audience. And the trailers that they were showing for the PG-13 version, which was released last Christmas, so that's what we're talking about it now because it's a 1 year old movie. It's a Christmas movie, believe it or not. Is because it's Christmas time. This is when the PG-13 Deadpool 2 came out. And so was entertaining that audience when they made that, and that's literally what they were going after, was that targeted group of people who are between the ages of 13 and 18 in order to be able to see Deadpool in the theaters legally. Because supposedly the movie theaters are supposed to card you to make sure that you're authorized to go into a movie unless you're under parental guidance for an R movie. R stands for restricted 18 and above only. There's also an NC-17, no children whatsoever under 17. So a rated R movie, an adult or a parental guidance, can take a child in to see an R-rated movie. It's recommended for ages 18 and up. And they're supposed to make sure that you are there with an adult, and they're not supposed to let you in, but I guarantee you movie theaters aren't as strict as they used to be back in the day. NC-17 supposedly No children are allowed in the theater who are under age 17. And that's another MPAA rating, NC-17. And they are not supposed to let you in if you are not 17 years old or older. PG-13 was something that was created after, I think, Jurassic Park. I think it was Steven Spielberg that said that Jurassic Park was too scary for his child, who at the time was that age, and that's kind of how PG-13 came about. So parental guidance. So it's G-rated, which anybody can go anytime. I mean, any age can go see a G-rated movie. I don't even know if they even make G-rated movies anymore. And then the first grouping above that is PG, which stands for parental guidance. And so they're saying that, you know, you should have a parental authority figure with you when you go to that movie. PG-13, again, means you're supposed to be under the guidance of a parent of going to see these movies, and they do not recommend it for anyone under the ages of 13. That falls into the YouTube channels. They now have decided that anyone under the ages of, don't remember whether it was 13 or 15. I think it's 15. No, I think it's 13. It's 12 and under. So anyone under 13 is not supposed to be watching YouTube channels like this one. This channel is supposed to be for ages 13 and up, and I am making it for ages 13 and up. I don't believe I've ever made any of my YouTube videos ever that were specifically geared towards baby, little kids, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I don't believe for one second. And I'm not saying that I have a problem with kids. I don't hate kids. But there has to do with supposedly their impressionable minds in regards to the product that is being shoved down their throat, that they can't differentiate between the difference of a informative video as such and a sales pitch where I am getting paid by a company to sell their product, and I'm not a paid spokesperson for these products. It's a hobby, it's a collection of mine, so my hobby, my release, it's my escape, and we just talk about that. And so PG-13 is kind of what YouTube now is in order to become monetized for that because of the Child Online Protection Act, COPPA. Some people call it COPA, but it's not. It's Child Online, COPPA, COPPA, Child Online Privacy Protection Act, is designed to keep kids from getting their information hacked or their little minds tainted by people or manufacturers or distributors or product companies or whatever. And so that's where that is. So 13 and up is the age for YouTube now, more or less. And that's the way it was supposed to be anyway, all along as it was. There was like a kid's YouTube for the younger minded kids. All of these figures say on them adult collectibles, 15 and up. Some of these figures do not, like right over here. Ant-Man being a multi-scalable character, I buy multi-scalable Ant-Man. Some of these over here are not necessarily adult collectibles. That does not mean that I'm making a video for a kid. I collect these because Ant-Man is multi-scalable. All right? These guys right here, don't remember who made them, look beautiful. These guys look cheap. The 1/9 scale King art is cheap. That 1/12 scale, I don't remember, Marvel Select, it's not. It's really nice. This little guy with the orange on him, cheap. Okay, these guys are not cheaply made. Hot Toys guys down there, I think. So I have multiple scalable figures for Ant-Man because of that. So this would be a kid's toy. This would not be a kid's toy. That would not be a kid's toy. That would not be a kid's toy. They would say ages 15 and up. So that's really who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the adult collector. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to little 8-year-old Timmy out here. Timmy, if you're watching the channel, you need to go away and come back in a few years when you're older, because I don't want to get in trouble by the Child Online Privacy Protection Act and the federal government by trying to say that I'm trying to taint your little mind into buying product, telling your mommy that she has to spend $300 on a new hot toy. That's what's going on. So this is a rated T and up channel. The ESRB, which is what the video game industry uses for determining ages, uses a T, T for teen. So we are 15 and up because that's what all these say. Truthfully, you look on the back of a box that says ages 15 and up. So the majority of everything here is ages 15 and up, and those items that are not, I'm not trying to push them to a kid. I'm not pushing these products. I'm not pushing my video towards children. I believe I'm talking to adult collectors. Now, being an adult doesn't mean that you necessarily have the mindset of an adult. Some of us, myself included, still think like little kids. We're big boys. We're the only thing difference between what they say used to say, the difference between the men and boys is the price of their toys. These are $300 nowadays. Kids' versions of these are less than 20. There you go. At the end of Rogue One with Jyn Erso, yeah, and we could talk about Rogue One. Gosh, the movie came out 4 years ago. At the end of Rogue One with Jyn Erso, she would have got a good F word in before the shockwave hit her. I'm trying to remember whether or not she knew the shockwave was coming. I would like to believe that she just slipped away into the night without knowing that it was coming. And they did that Old Yeller style. So what that means, if I'm willing to explain something to somebody in regards to how movies are done nowadays, when Old Yeller was made back in the 50s or 60s, whenever that movie was made, first off, I'm going to say, if you don't know about Old Yeller, you need to go watch Old Yeller. Okay? It's about a dog. These little kids growing up with their dog. And if you've not seen the movie, I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. I'm going to divulge the end of the movie, the spoiler of it. The dog has gotten rabies, and it's gone mad, and it's hurting the kids. So the oldest child goes and grabs, I think it's the shotgun, and off he goes. Literally, my child, when she was 5 years old, looked at me and she said, "He's going to kill that dog." You don't see anything happening. Next thing you know, there's puppies running around. I don't even think you even hear a gunshot. The dog's out there completely out of his mind, rabid, their family pet. The kid grabs the shotgun, out he goes. You know what's going to happen. You don't need to watch the dog's head explode and blood and guts and everything going all over the place to be able to get the story. You know what has just about to take place and even what has happened in the movie ends. We don't necessarily have to have our bloodlust satisfied in order for a movie to be good. We don't necessarily have to see that. We're capable of putting two and two together. So, with that being said, that's kind of how they ended Rogue One. You see the explosion coming, the shockwave, or whatever it was, the radiation, or whatever it was that was actually coming at you from that destruction of the station from the Death Star, more or less. It's coming and it's going to be devastating. And they just a flash, just ends. We don't watch them being dissolved, dismembered, blown up, guts and blood and everything going everywhere, just done. And that's perfectly well. A movie can be done in that manner, and we know what happened. Now, we will say, because we didn't see them explode or dissolve or disintegrate or flash into a skeleton, that they aren't necessarily sure that they're dead. Yeah, bull. They died. So that's where we have gotten in regards to movies nowadays. If movies were to go back to Old Yeller style, I don't think I'd really have a problem with that on the majority of movies. I don't necessarily need to watch a head being decapitated and blood dripping out of it to know that the guy's dead. If you're going for that effect, hey, go for it. There are times when that is good in a movie, but it's not a requirement in every single movie. We will get the meaning and the message without you having to depict it to us. For fact. Absolutely fact. Yeah, but she would have been like, motherfucker. Like Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury at the end of Infinity War. Motherfucker. That's what we got. I think the videos do have some influence on what we buy, but in a good way. I would like to say, in my opinion, what I'm providing you is maybe the decision that you are able to make as to whether or not you want to waste your money on this or invest your money on this. If I pick this up and I'm like, God, the joints suck on it, the seams are falling apart, it's crappy material. You might say to yourself, I really don't want that Peggy Carter, or I'll build my own Peggy Carter, or I'll wait for another company to make Peggy Carter. So, yeah, in that regards, yes. You know what I mean? So I would like to think that I'm helping you guys out because I've made the sacrifice and I bought her because I wanted her for my collection. I can't remember the last time I had a really bad figure. Um, I remember getting a bad figure, but at least then we get that going on. So it's helping you make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to drop, especially now, like I was saying, Vampirella over here, $300, and the first Vampirella I think was $200 or less. I think she wasn't even $200. Now, if you want a Vampirella, same business going on there of all the little pieces and whatnot of her, $300. So we're talking real money. It's a lot of money. And when I sit here and I'm trying to sell my figures to pay bills, and I offer a figure up, for instance, this Mark III gunmetal sold for $2,000 because that's the going rate for it, and people were lowballing me. Every day I would get a message from eBay. We take $800 for it. No, I won't take $800 for it. Everyone that is sold is selling for around $2,000. That's what I will take for the figure. Well, you need to take $800 for it. No, I'm not needing to take $800 for it. It's selling for $2,000. I'm going to sell it for $2,000. So I just sat on it and I sold it. And that's how things go in regards to that. By the time eBay and PayPal got done with that $2,000, $1,600 is what I received for the figure. They took $400. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So I watched Bohemian Rhapsody last night. It was so good. Oh my God. There's a company that's made, or somebody has made a Freddie Mercury figure. I've seen them from Bohemian Rhapsody. And I don't remember the actor's name who played Freddie Mercury. They really did an amazing job. And it's really enlightening. Of course, I grew up during that age, and the fear of AIDS as it was then, where it was a full-on death sentence if you contracted AIDS and or even HIV, and Freddie Mercury, of course, contracted that and died from it. And what an amazing story! I learned so much, and the music is just, oh God. I recommend Bohemian Rhapsody if you've not seen it, or if you're even just a somewhat, if you know anything about Queen at all, you should go see Bohemian Rhapsody. Amazing, amazing movie. The story of Freddie Mercury. Um, Amazing, amazing, amazing movie. I agree. Great movie. Great movie. No doubt about it. So what time is it? Almost 9 o'clock. So you guys got anything else on your mind that you want to talk about? For I think I'm going to wrap this up. If you don't, if you're done, I think I'm done. I think I've talked about everything I've got going on. I'd like to see a new Pepper Potts. I'd like to see an updated Pepper Potts. I like my Pepper Potts up there. She doesn't look necessarily really like Gwyneth Paltrow. But I get the idea of who she's supposed to be. The only way of getting the Mark 9 figure was by buying the Pepper Potts. You didn't buy the Mark 9, you bought the Pepper Potts. Now, needless to say, I was buying the Mark 9, and then I got a Pepper Potts with it. So this is Pepper right here. And she came with the Mark 9 because Hot Toys was claiming that the Mark 9 is the armor that she used to blow up Killian, who they revealed as the Mandarin, who, of course, you know, us real fans know that's bull, but, you know, that was a story. And here's Pepper, and I would like to see an updated Gwyneth. I would like to see the artists and sculptors give us a new Pepper Potts. I really would. And so I love my Pepper. She's the only Pepper that there is. She is my Pepper Potts. And she came with this guy, who's a Mark 20, because they claimed that this is the figure that she used. This is the suit that she used to kill Killian, but it wasn't. It was actually the Mark 8 that she used. And then, of course, there again, there's another head sculpt that I made. A Mark 9 helmet. And what I like about this figure is this and the Mark 20 are very similar. The difference being this pelvis region. So the Mark 9 has the pelvis from the Mark 17, and the Mark 20 has the pelvis from the Mark 7. So 7 up top, 17 on the bottom. The Mark 9 has the 17 pelvis. The Mark 20 has the Mark 7 pelvis. And it's kind of a satin figure. And I like the beefiness of the 17 legs. They are very hefty and industrial looking. And so I enjoy this. The sleekness of the Mark 7 and the beefiness of the Mark 17 makes the Mark 9. The Mark 8, the lower leg here section, is a Silver Centurion, Mark 33. So it looks very much like this in regards to the setup. If I remember correctly, on the Mark 8, I think the rib cage here also is Mark 33. If I remember correctly, I may be wrong there, but definitely the legs are. So if you're watching Iron Man 3, when the suit of armor is about ready to attack her because Tony told Jarvis to target all extremis signatures and to terminate with extreme prejudice. And here comes the suit targeting Pepper because she's now infected with the extremis virus. So Tony is about to call Jarvis and say, Jarvis, disengage the Hall of Armor, the clause I gave you of terminating the extremis. And his earbud had fallen out, so he wasn't able to communicate with Jarvis anymore. And here comes the suit. And you can see just that one split second, if you were to watch the video closely and specifically, you will notice that these legs and that chest is not the Mark 9. It is the Mark 8. The Mark 8 has not been given us. It is the Mark 8 that Pepper Potts uses to kick the missile into Killian and then blast it with the arm, because after she reaches up and she punches through his chest and throws the Mark 8 down, she takes the arm and slips her arm in it and fires. Which I don't understand how that was going to happen, because from my understanding, the main power for these was in the suit. How was she able to fire that repulsor blaster in the hand without there? Yeah, so what? It works. But they gave us the Mark 9, but it was actually the Mark 8, which we didn't get, never have. So hopefully, now that the Mark 7 diecast is out, they'll start releasing the Iron Legion, and we'll get a Mark 8, which truthfully is a Pepper, and that would be nice then if they gave us an Iron Man 3 Pepper redesigned with a better head sculpt, with a Mark 8, which is the way it's supposed to be, and I'd like to see a Gwyneth Paltrow now, an in-game Gwyneth Paltrow, more mature Gwyneth Paltrow. It's been actually 10 years between her first appearance and in-game, but it's supposed to be 15 years. So I'd like to see a matured 15-year older Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts. I would like that. That's what I would really like to see. Gwyneth to in-game age, truthfully. But I love this Mark 9. Love him. So that's why we get him. I don't remember seeing the Mark 9 anywhere in the movie. I'm sure it's in there flying around someplace, but it is not the Mark 9 that Pepper uses to kill Killian at the end of Iron Man 3. It is the Mark 8. So this is what you got with Pepper Potts. You could have bought Pepper by herself for $200. But if you wanted Pepper and the Mark 9, I think it was $400. And of course, I wanted the Mark 9. Didn't really care whether or not I got Pepper, but I'm glad I got Pepper. She's an integral part in the story. And so here is Pepper Potts. Thanks, CBS Sci-Fi. You too have a good day. Can you talk about all the new announcements? I just went over them, Savon. Next people will next people will be with in-game. Oh, next Pepper Potts will be with in-game. Yeah, I hope so. That's what I want. I want an in-game Pepper Potts. I want a decent Hot Toys Happy figure. Yes, hello, and I don't really even care whether it's Iron Man 1 or in-game or Spider-Man Far From Home. I really don't care which Happy they give us. I really don't. I just want a Happy. Jon Favreau, I think that's how you say his name, Jon Favreau, he was integral in the creation of Iron Man 1. When you watch the interviews and the backstory to Iron Man 1, it was very loose then. They really didn't even have it written in stone, the entire script. It was they were just making movies, just having fun, more or less. They had a pretty good idea of what was going on, but it was really loose and open for interpretation as they were in the process of filming it, and decisions were made that changed some things. And Mickey Rooney, who played in Iron Man 2, Whiplash, complained that they didn't necessarily let his artistic expression come through as much as he wanted to in regards to his opinions on the character. And Jeff Bridges, who was in Iron Man 1, said that he didn't necessarily appreciate how things had gone in regards to his artistic expression and whatnot. But in the beginning, it was very loose. It wasn't to the point as with Endgame and Infinity War, where Kevin Feige had a full-on grip to everything because an end result had to be made and everything had to tie into it. So Jon Favreau was like the director or producer or whatever of Iron Man 1, and he played Happy. And I don't understand why, for the life of me, we don't have a Happy. I really don't. And as a matter of fact, it could even go back as far as to say that we can get a Happy anywhere from 1999 to 2025. There's a 25-year age span of Happy that we see, because when they go back in time to where is it where Killian first gives his talk to Tony in regards to AIM, advanced idea mechanics. That's supposed to be taking place on the 1999 celebration of New Year's Eve. Because if you remember when he met the scientist in the cave in Iron Man 1, he told him, we met in Bonn, in Switzerland, years earlier. And Tony totally didn't even remember that because he was, the party animal that he was. at that time frame. But all these stories were interconnected, and all the stories came together to show how things go about. So we have a 25-year span of Happy that we could have. We could have the 1999 Happy, or we could have a 2025 Far From Home Spider-Man Happy. And I don't even care. Really don't. I don't care which one they give us. But yeah, I'd love it. It'd be great. It'd be nice to have five of them. 1999, a 2010, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that'd be great. Hey, just any Happy would be fine. We need a Happy. We really do. And there's a third-party manufacturer that made a Happy, and it didn't look like Happy at all. So I totally passed on that. But no, I don't understand why Jon Favreau doesn't have a Happy figure out. Especially, like I said, as an integral part he was in the whole creation of this whole thing. Because that first groundwork that was laid with Iron Man 1, if Iron Man 1 was a total failure, we wouldn't have all this that we have. We wouldn't. It was because of the success of Iron Man 1 and the subsequent success of Hulk and Iron Man 2 and Captain America and all the other movies that came out. That's why we ended up having Avengers Endgame. That's why we ended up having a movie that beat out Avatar. Whatever your opinion is on that. It's because of everything that was tied together. You know, like when in Spider-Man Homecoming, when Tony's having the discussion with the suit, and Tony says, you know, more or less, if you die, that's on me. And then Peter dies in his arms in Infinity War. You know, all those things. You know, when Tony's saying, that up there, that's the end game. You know, that's when we know that that's the end of the movie. You know, it's all tied together. It's beautifully orchestrated. And that's how you make movies. When you got 22, 23 movies that are all in one, that's the magic of making movies. That is how you tell a story. That is how it's done. New die-cast Pepper Potts. We do have a die-cast Pepper Potts coming out. Her name is Rescue. What do you think of the Don Cheadle head sculpt from which? From which? Um, it looks like Don Cheadle. All of them do. All the Don Cheadle head sculpts look like Don Cheadle. I've got my War Machines all the way up there at the top. You can see them. They're in the Hall of Armor. So I've got the first 7 Hall of Armor here, except I have no Mark III in there. I did have 3 Mark IIIs. I had a Gunmetal Mark III, which is a plastic. I have the Blue Stealth Mark III, which is die-cast, and I have the die-cast Mark III. And I do not have a Mark III in the Hall of Armor because I never felt the Stealth belonged in there. It's the blue one with the red chest. I think that the Gunmetal deserved to be on my Holy Grail shelf, and my Mark III die-cast is posed fighting against the Ironmonger. So I don't have a Mark III in my Hall of Armor. I really needed a Mark III in my Hall of Armor. But my War Machines are on top of that. And I have my War Machine Mark I is posed versus Whiplash 2, and Iron Man Mark VI in the Iron Man 2 end scene. And then I have a Iron Man Mark III that I was trying to turn into an Iron Man Mark II. And so I have that up there because Rhodey took it, and that is how the War Machine was made in the Marvel Comics movie comic tie-in called Adaptations. We see the scene of Tony taking back the Mark II armor, disassembling all of the War Machine Mark I pieces that Hammer put on it to make it the War Machine Mark I. And then that is when Tony gives him the War Machine Mark II. So Hot Toys made a War Machine Mark II that was not in the movies. The exact same piece as the Hot Rod. Exact same piece as the Iron Patriot. And the exact same piece as the War Machine Mark II New Avengers, which was at the end of Captain America Civil War, I think. So there's 4 suits that are the same die-cast figure painted differently. Original War Machine Mark II, the Hot Rod, the Iron Patriot, and the War Machine Mark II New Avenger. And then we have the War Machine Mark III. Now, if I remember correctly, all of these except for War Machine Mark II came with a head sculpt of Don Cheadle, if I remember correctly. And I like them. It looks like Don Cheadle. It looks enough like Don Cheadle that I know that it's Don Cheadle. And who was it that played Rhodey in the first movie? I liked him as an actor. And again, it had to deal with creative differences, not seeing eye to eye, so why he didn't continue on playing. I think he'd even said that the original arrangement was that he knew he wasn't going to be continually being portrayed as Rhodes, and it really, from my understanding, it wasn't who they really wanted to play Rhodes. But I liked him, and it really kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know all that when it went down, so I was kind of caught off guard when Don Cheadle played Rhodey after the first actor brought Rhodey to life, but it worked well. So he never wore a War Machine suit because War Machine did not exist in Iron Man 1. There is a scene at the end of it where he says something to the suit. He's talking to the suit, and he says something to the effect of "next time" or something like that, precluding that there would be the War Machine because War Machine was in the comics. We knew that Rhodes becomes the War Machine. It just didn't happen in Iron Man Mark 1. And so then Rhodes, the actor who played Rhodes in Iron Man Mark 1, is different than the actor who played Rhodes in Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 and what was the first Avengers movie he was in? Civil War, I think, was the first Avengers movie that the War Machine was in because he was not in Avengers. And he was not in Age of Ultron either. I think he was in Captain America Civil War as his first Avengers appearance. Well, he was in Age of Ultron. He was in Age of Ultron because he was telling the story of bam, you missed your tank or something to that effect, and when he was telling the Avengers that, they're like, and what's the joke? And he's like, and then you see him talking to mortals, normal people, and they laugh and erupt in laughter when he says, "You looking for this?" and drops the tank at his feet or something to that effect. So yeah, he was in Age of Ultron, wasn't he? Well, I like my Don Cheadle head sculpts. I think they work, including the Iron Man Mark II Armor Unleashed. I believe comes with a Don Cheadle head sculpt. They made 2 Mark IIs. One had the Tony Stark head sculpt in it, and one had the Don Cheadle head sculpt in it. I'm almost positive it's the Armor Unleashed version of the plastic Iron Man Mark II that came with the Don Cheadle head sculpt. If you bought the Iron Man Mark II plastic version without it being the Armor Unleashed version, it came with a Tony Stark head sculpt. So those are all of the Don Cheadle head sculpts for that. I would like to find a Don Cheadle head and build an Air Force suit. You know, like Peggy Carter here. I'd love to have a Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes, truthfully, in a modern day U.S. Air Force outfit. I would like that. I really would. Because it's who he is. He is Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes, or retired Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes. And I think even they made him Colonel, didn't they? Don't remember. But I would love to have Rhodey in an Air Force uniform. Really would. That would be great. The ribbons, I mean, everything. Full dead on. And a good looking Don Cheadle head sculpt. I'm sure it can be done. I would love that. I really would. I think that would be great. It'd be nice to have one of those. I'm former military. I love our service. I think everybody, I understand people having a problem with the draft whenever you feel that your government is fighting a war that you have a problem with. And I understand, conscientious objectors and whatever else. But I truthfully believe that everybody should do service to their country. When you should, you should earn your right to your freedom. You should earn your right to what your government gives you. And I paid my fair share. I've served in the military. And I think whether or not it has to do with military service or not, I think you should have to pay for your right, your freedoms. I think you should. So I'm pro-military in that regards. It doesn't mean I'm pro-killing or the killing machine. I'm pro ensuring the securities of those that you enjoy being paid for by somebody. I think everybody should serve your country in some capacity, somehow, to earn your God-given right of being under the security and protection of the country that you're born under. I think you should pay for that with your life in some way. I really do. I really do. And serving in the military is a great way for that. And so I love my military, and I would love to have Lieutenant Rhodes in full-on Air Force garb. I really would. I really would. I've got Steve Rogers ordered in his SSR or uniform or whatever it is, his Army uniform. I forget which it is, and he will be displayed with Peggy. I love the uniforms. They show the in-game Iron Patriot Don Cheadle head sculpt. I don't have the in-game Iron Patriot head sculpt. Are you saying that Hot Toys is showing it now? And they didn't show it before? I mean, I have this, which is Infinity War, Iron Paint, War Machine, head sculpt. And this is an amazing piece. Love this piece. And let's put Pepper back. I'm gonna put Mark 9 next to this War Machine here. Mark 4. Look at this. It's almost like baby brother, big brother. I mean, they really went all out on this War Machine. I mean, he's a beast. And the Mark III is very similarly huge, beastly, beautiful piece of work here. Now these open up. It's a Mark 7. These open up, of course. But there's just no comparing these two, truthfully. I mean, this is beefy. That's godly. This is beefy. That's beastly. There you go. That's not godly. Chris Hemsworth is godly. This is beefy. This is beastly. And yeah, I think they did a great job with this head sculpt. They did a great job with that. Very pleased. I don't think you'll be disappointed with any War Machine. If you were to buy any War Machine, I can't imagine you thinking to yourself, well, that was a waste of money. Don't believe that for 1 second. And this Mark IV War Machine is off the hook. Love it. And so with each new War Machine that comes out, the previous one goes up in a Hall of Armor. So the Mark III War Machine was over here from Civil War, and now the Mark IV War Machine is over there from Infinity War. So that is the Mark IV War Machine. And he really is a war machine. Really is. Great looking piece. So his back is broken in this one, right? It's interesting, in Doctor Strange, right before he has his car accident, he's asking them about cases. And they make a reference to somebody that has their back broken. And I'm almost positive it's supposed to be Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes that they're making that reference to right before he wrecks the car. Uh-oh. Knocked off Civil War Black Widow's little baton that she has on her back. I wish I'd collected all the Black Widows. That's one of those things that one day I probably will track them all down as they come and go. My favorite one is probably the Age of Ultron Black Widow. The Infinity War one is not my favorite one. The Civil War one is not my favorite one. I'd say Age of Ultron is probably my favorite Black Widow. But I'd like to have them all. Awesome character. Happy to see that movie coming out, right? When's that come out? Black Widow movie. Terrence Howard. Beautiful. Thank you. He played Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes in the first Iron Man movie. I love Terrence Howard. But if I remember correctly, he said that he knew he wouldn't be continuing on as War Machine. Hot Toys released images of the in-game from Patriot Head Sculpt. It's spot on. Beautiful. Yeah, the artist who makes War Machine is doing it very well. I don't know who it is, whether it's So Young Lee or who is doing Don Cheadle, but they really are doing a really good job with it. It really is. Some of those artists at Hot Toys are superbly talented, hugely talented. The head sculpt team out of Korea, J.C. Hong, Jin Cha Hong's group, are extremely talented, and they're really knocking it out of the ballpark. The head sculpt artists are, and then their painters, the head painters. Oh my goodness, they're really knocking it out of the ballpark. 100%, 100%, no question about it. No doubt about it. So, guys, tune in next week. We're going to do Veronica. Like, subscribe, share the video, subscribe to Patreon. That helps out a lot. I have nothing to promise you as a Patreon subscriber, but hey, I have a Facebook page as well called 1/6 Scale News and Reviews. You guys are welcome to post anything that you have in regards to 1/6 Scale. news and reviews, anything that you want to talk about, anything upcoming, anything you're working on in regards to Kit Bash, you're welcome to post it. I'm pretty sure the channel's 100% open up. I'd like you guys to use it. This channel here as well. It's really more or less just us talking about what the hell's going on with our community and our collection and our obsession and the movies that go along with all of this and pop culture and everything that has anything to do with anything. Speaking of, I've made reference before that my Deadpool, my first Deadpool, kind of ends up holding all the junk. I've given him the goggles and the pistol from the Red Sonja Steampunk edition. So there's the little steampunk goggles on his head and the pistol that she came with. So all the little junk gets put into his arms. Because Deadpool breaks that fourth wall. He enjoys the movies, right? He's there. So I just happened to look over and be reminded that I put on there his that little steampunk goggles on his forehead. Deadpool. So like, subscribe, go to patreon.com, Siri Emerald. Throw $1 at me every month. Appreciate it, man. And we'll see you all next week. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I hope Santa is good to you and brings you lots of toys and things that you hope for. And I hope none of you, unless you need the coal to heat your house. So, love you guys. Take care. Peace. See you on the next video.